Rejection. The word alone makes most people uncomfortable. You hear it and instantly think of pain, loss, failure. But let me ask you something. What if rejection wasn't the end of your story? What if it was actually the beginning? Think about that. How many times in your life have you been told no and you thought your world was collapsing? Maybe it was a job you desperately wanted. Maybe it was someone you loved. Maybe it was a door you believed was meant for you. And in that moment, you felt small. You felt invisible. You felt not enough. But here's the truth you probably never considered. Rejection is not the world saying you are unworthy. It's the world redirecting you. That sting you feel when you get rejected, that's not weakness. That's your wake-up call. That's the universe or life itself, pushing you out of what you think you want so you can discover what you truly need. Most people don't see this. Most people collapse under rejection. They give up, they retreat, they play small because one no convinced them they weren't good enough. And that's why they never grow. That's why they never rise. So let me challenge you with this thought. What if rejection isn't your enemy? What if it's your greatest teacher, your hidden advantage, the very thing shaping you into someone stronger, sharper, unbreakable? Because I promise you this, every rejection you faced has been preparing you for something bigger. And if you can learn to accept it instead of fighting it, you'll stop seeing rejection as the end and start seeing it as the fuel that powers your next breakthrough. When you get rejected, the first instinct most people have is to take it personally. You immediately go into your head, replaying the moment over and over, asking yourself, what's wrong with me? Why didn't they pick me? Why wasn't I good enough? That's human nature. We all do it. But here's the reality. Rejection is rarely about you as a person. More often than not, it's about direction, not destruction. It's life nudging you, sometimes even shoving you away from a path that isn't meant for you and onto the one you're supposed to walk. Think about it this way. When a door closes, it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It just means that particular door wasn't yours to walk through. Yet, most people stand in front of that closed door, pounding on it, begging for it to open again, wasting their energy on something that was never designed for them. They think if they knock long enough, if they try hard enough, maybe they'll be let in. But what they don't realize is that staying stuck at the wrong door prevents them from seeing the open one that's waiting just a few steps away. You see, rejection is information. It's feedback. It's life saying, this is not where you belong, not here, not with them, not in this moment. But because we attach our worth to the outcome, we interpret rejection as failure. We think, I wasn't chosen, so I must not matter. That's a dangerous lie. You matter whether or not someone recognizes your value in that moment. Your worth is not defined by a single no. Let's put this into perspective. Imagine you go for a job interview. You prepare, you give your best, but they call and say, we've decided to move forward with another candidate. Instantly, it feels personal. You start to think, maybe I wasn't qualified enough. Maybe I wasn't impressive enough. But what if the truth is that you were overqualified? Or maybe the culture of that workplace would have crushed your creativity. Maybe the role you thought you wanted would have kept you small, chained to something that didn't align with your bigger potential. That rejection wasn't an insult. It was protection. It was direction. It was life clearing the path so you could be available when the right opportunity shows up. The same is true in relationships. We've all been there. Someone you love doesn't love you back, or someone walks away when you thought they'd stay. It cuts deep, doesn't it? You feel like you weren't enough for them. But rejection in relationships isn't always about not being enough. Sometimes it's about not being aligned. Sometimes it's about life saving you from giving years of your life to someone who could never truly value you. We only see it later after the heartbreak is healed. When we look back and realize that rejection saved me from something that would have destroyed me. But here's the part that most people never grasp. Rejection isn't the enemy. Your perception of rejection is the real enemy. If you choose to see it as an attack, you'll crumble. If you choose to see it as direction, you'll rise. It's about reframing the meaning you attach to it, and that shift changes everything. When life says no, it doesn't mean stop. It means pivot. It means redirect. It means there's something better suited for you out there. Something you wouldn't have pursued if you hadn't been pushed away from the wrong thing. That's the power hidden inside rejection. It forces you to move. It forces you to adapt. It forces you to keep searching until you land where you're truly meant to be. Now let's get brutally honest here. Some of you are still holding on to old rejections as if they define you. That school you didn't get into, that job that didn't hire you, that person who didn't choose you, you're still carrying those wounds. And they've become excuses for why you don't try anymore. You've built walls around your potential because you're afraid of hearing no again. But what if you understood that every no was never about you being unworthy, but about you being redirected? Wouldn't you see those moments differently? Wouldn't you move forward with a little more courage, knowing rejection isn't the end, it's simply a signpost pointing you in a new direction? Let me tell you something. People will reject you for reasons that have nothing to do with you. They'll reject you because they don't see your vision, because they can't recognize your worth, because they're not ready for what you bring. And that's fine. Their rejection doesn't define your value. It defines their perspective. And if you allow other people's limited perspective to limit your future, then you're the one rejecting yourself. So the next time you're rejected, stop asking why me and start asking what now? Don't waste time trying to convince the wrong people to see your worth or the wrong doors to open up for you. Trust that the rejection is guiding you. Maybe it's saving you. Maybe it's shaping you into someone who can handle what's coming next. When you shift from seeing rejection as personal to seeing it as directional, something powerful happens. You stop being controlled by disappointment. You stop questioning your worth every time you hear no. Instead, you start moving with resilience, with adaptability, with clarity. You start to see rejection not as something to fear, but as something to embrace, because you know it's shaping your path. And here's the truth. The people who rise the highest in life are not the ones who never get rejected. They're the ones who refuse to take rejection personally. They don't let no break them. They let no guide them. They let rejection become redirection. Because in the end, rejection is never the period at the end of your story. It's just a comma. It's just a pause before the sentence continues. And how that sentence continues depends on one thing, how you choose to see it. Rejection has a way of making people feel weak. It cuts right into your pride, into your confidence, into that fragile part of you that craves approval. The moment someone says no or chooses someone else over you, you feel like you've been stripped of your power. And yet, the truth is the exact opposite. Rejection doesn't expose weakness. It reveals strength. The very fact that you put yourself in a position where rejection was even possible is proof that you had the courage to step into the arena. Think about it. The easiest way to avoid rejection is to never try, never apply for the job, never speak up, never take a risk, never tell someone how you feel. Play it safe, stay in your comfort zone, and rejection will never find you. But here's the problem with that kind of life. Comfort zones might keep you safe, but they also keep you small. If you never give life the chance to reject you, you're also robbing yourself of the chance to grow. You cannot play big while living in fear of being told no. Every rejection is evidence that you were brave enough to put yourself out there. It's proof that you didn't hide. And that is strength. The weak ones are not the ones who get rejected. The weak ones are the ones who never try because they're so terrified of rejection. They never even give themselves the chance. At least you tried. At least you stepped up. At least you gave yourself an opportunity. Let's take a look at some of the most successful people in the world. Writers, artists, leaders, entrepreneurs. Almost every single one of them faced rejection, often multiple times. Their manuscripts were turned down. Their ideas were laughed at. Their pitches were rejected. Their efforts dismissed. And do you know what separated them from the rest? It wasn't that they never got rejected. It was that they didn't let rejection define them. They saw it for what it was. Part of the process, a stepping stone, proof they were trying to do something that mattered. You see, strength isn't built in moments of comfort. Strength is revealed when you face resistance and keep moving. Rejection is resistance. It pushes against you. It challenges you. It tests how badly you want something. And every time you take that hit and keep going, you're proving your strength. Every no you survive adds another layer of resilience, another layer of courage. There's a story I once heard that captures this perfectly. A young athlete wanted to compete at a national level. He trained for months, sacrificed his time, and when the big day came, he gave it everything he had, but he didn't make the team. Rejected. Most people would crumble in that moment. And for a while he did. He questioned himself, wondered if he was good enough. But then he realized something important. The fact that he was even in that room, competing at that level, meant he had already done something most people never dared to do. He had pushed his limits, put himself on the line, and even though he didn't win, he had gained strength that no one could take from him. That rejection revealed not his weakness, but his strength to stand in the fire, take the hit, and keep going. We live in a culture obsessed with winning, with getting the yes, but the truth is, the no's are where your true character is revealed. Anyone can feel strong when they're winning. Anyone can feel confident when they're being praised and accepted. But what happens when you're rejected? Do you collapse? Or do you rise? That moment exposes the strength inside you like nothing else can. And here's the thing about rejection, it forces you to toughen up. The first time you're rejected, it hurts like hell, but then you survive it. And the next time it still hurts, but you recover faster. By the 10th rejection, you start to realize something. You are unbreakable. You can get knocked down and still stand back up. That's when you understand that rejection isn't destroying you. It's building you. It's chiseling away the fragile parts of you and revealing the unshakable core underneath. Some of you right now are afraid of rejection, and because of that fear, you're not even trying. You're holding back your talent, your ideas, your potential, because you don't want to feel the sting of being told no. But here's the brutal truth. By avoiding rejection, you're also avoiding strength. You're avoiding growth. You're avoiding the version of yourself who is powerful, resilient, and unstoppable. Strength is not revealed when life says yes to you. It's revealed when life says no, and you keep moving forward anyway. Think about the people you admire most. Are they the ones who had an easy path, accepted at every turn? Or are they the ones who faced rejection, endured it, and rose stronger? Their strength was revealed in the fire of rejection. And that same strength is inside you too. But you'll never see it if you keep running from the possibility of hearing no. Here's something else to remember. Rejection is temporary, but the strength you build from it lasts forever. The sting fades, the disappointment passes, but the muscle you build from surviving it stays with you. Every time you put yourself out there, every time you risk rejection, you're doing a workout for your soul, and over time, just like physical training, you get stronger, more resilient, more unshakable. So the next time someone rejects you, instead of shrinking, stand taller. Instead of saying, I wasn't good enough, say, this proves I was strong enough to try. Instead of letting rejection weaken your spirit, let it fuel your determination. Let it remind you that you are not fragile. You are not breakable. You are someone who can face rejection and still keep moving. Because at the end of the day, rejection doesn't mean you're weak. Rejection is proof that you were willing to step into the fight. And that right there is strength. It's evidence that you have the courage most people will never have. And when you finally do get the yes, when you finally do achieve the breakthrough you've been working for, it will mean more because you know the strength it took to get there. That strength was revealed every time you were told no and kept going anyway. Rejection is one of the best workouts for your mind and emotions. Though most people don't see it that way. When you face rejection, you're being pushed, stretched, and tested in ways that nothing else can test you. It's like lifting weights. The first time you pick up a heavy barbell, it feels impossible. Your muscles ache, your arms shake. You want to put it down. But if you stick with it, if you keep showing up, those same weights that once felt unbearable start to feel lighter. Why? Because your muscles adapt, they grow, they get stronger. Rejection works the same way, except instead of your body, it's your emotional muscle that's being trained. The problem is, too many people quit the workout too early. The moment they feel that sting of no, they run. They avoid situations where rejection is even possible. They convince themselves It's better to stay safe, to never put themselves on the line. But by doing that, they're robbing themselves of the chance to grow stronger emotionally. Just like you can't build a strong body by sitting on the couch, you can't build a strong mind by hiding from rejection. Here's what happens when you start accepting rejection instead of resisting it. You stop being fragile. You stop falling apart at the first sign of resistance. You stop letting someone else's opinion dictate how you feel about yourself. You begin to realize that rejection is not something that breaks you. It's something that builds you. Every no you experience is like another rep at the gym, and with every rep, you're becoming tougher, more resilient, more unshakable. Think about the first time you were rejected. Maybe it was as a kid, when you weren't picked for a team, or later in life, when someone you liked didn't like you back, or when you applied for something and got turned down. That first sting always feels like the end of the world. It feels like proof that you're not good enough. But what happened after? You survived it. The world didn't end. You kept moving. That's emotional muscle being built. And the more often you face it, the more you realize that rejection cannot destroy you. It only strengthens you. People who can't handle rejection are fragile. They crumble at criticism. They fall apart when someone doesn't agree with them. They live their lives on edge, constantly seeking validation, constantly needing approval to feel okay. That's weakness disguised as safety. But people who embrace rejection, who lean into it, who don't run from it, those are the people who develop real power. Because they know how to take the hit and keep moving. They know how to absorb the discomfort, process it, and come back stronger. Let's be clear. Rejection is uncomfortable. It hurts. And it's supposed to. Growth always hurts in the beginning. Just like building muscle requires strain, building emotional resilience requires discomfort. You don't grow by feeling good all the time. You grow by being tested, by facing moments that stretch you, by enduring pain and realizing you're still standing. Rejection gives you that exact opportunity. Let's look at it from another angle. Imagine you shield a child from ever falling down, from ever struggling, from ever hearing no. That child might feel safe, but what happens when they grow up and face the real world? They crumble because they never developed emotional muscle. They never learned to withstand resistance. The same goes for you. If you spend your life running from rejection, you remain emotionally weak. The moment life pushes back, you'll collapse. But if you embrace rejection, if you take those hits and use them as training, you'll become the kind of person who can handle anything. Every successful person you admire has been rejected more times than you could count. Actors turned down for roles, business owners denied loans, authors told their work wasn't good enough. They didn't become successful because they avoided rejection. They became successful because they built emotional muscle, strong enough to handle rejection. They toughened up through the constant no's, until a yes finally came. And by then, they were strong enough to not only receive it, but to sustain it. Here's the truth you need to absorb. Rejection will never stop. It doesn't matter how smart you are, how talented, how hard you work, someone somewhere will still tell you no. The difference between people who rise and people who stay stuck is not who gets rejected, but who can handle it. Those who build emotional muscle see rejection as part of the process, not the end of the journey. You need to train your mind the same way an athlete trains their body. When rejection hits, instead of crumbling, tell yourself, this is my workout. This is making me stronger. This is preparing me for the next level. Every single time you do that, you're rewiring your brain, toughening your emotions, building that unbreakable muscle inside you. Over time, rejection stops feeling like death and starts feeling like fuel. And here's the beautiful part. When you've built emotional muscle, rejection loses its power over you. People can say no, opportunities can close, and you won't fall apart. You'll feel it, sure, but it won't control you. You'll shake it off, learn the lesson, and move forward. That's freedom. That's strength. That's resilience. Rejection is not a wall meant to stop you. It's the weight you lift to make you stronger. And the more weight you lift, the stronger you get. The people who achieve greatness aren't the ones who never got rejected. They're the ones who took rejection, used it as training, and built themselves into someone unstoppable. So the next time rejection shows up at your door, don't run from it. Don't take it as a sign you're weak. See it for what it really is, your workout, your training, your opportunity to grow tougher than you were yesterday. Because the more you face it, the stronger you'll get. And one day, you'll look back and realize that every single rejection was nothing more than a stepping stone to the powerful, resilient, unbreakable version of yourself. Rejection has this strange way of making you believe you've lost something you desperately needed, when in reality, what you lost might only have been what you wanted. And that's a big difference. One is driven by desire, by emotions, by what you think will make you happy in the moment. Need, on the other hand, is about growth, purpose, alignment. It's about what will truly serve you in the long run. The reason rejection hurts so much is because it attacks our wants. But once you step back, once you learn to see beyond the sting, you start to realize that rejection often clears away what you want, so that you can discover what you actually need. Think about the last time you faced rejection. Maybe it was from a job, a school, a person, an opportunity. In that moment, it felt like your entire plan had been ripped apart. You convinced yourself you needed that job to feel successful. You needed that relationship to feel loved. You needed that door to open in order to move forward. But months or years later, when you look back, how many times have you realized that the thing you thought you needed wasn't actually right for you? That job you didn't get, it would have burned you out. That person who rejected you, they would have drained your spirit. That door that slammed shut, it would have led you down a path that limited who you were meant to become. Rejection strips away illusions. It forces you to confront whether something was truly for you or whether you just wanted it because it looked good, felt comfortable, or fed your ego. And let's be honest, we all chase things out of ego. We want certain people to accept us because it validates us. We want certain opportunities because they look impressive. We want certain outcomes because they make us feel important. But what you want and what you need are not always the same thing. Rejection is life's way of separating the two for you. Picture this, someone you deeply care about decides to walk away. You're crushed. You think you needed their love, their presence, their approval to be whole. But what if you didn't? What if what you needed wasn't their acceptance, but the strength to accept yourself? What if what you needed was the independence, the self-respect, the clarity that comes from being forced to stand on your own? Rejection removes what you thought you needed, so you can develop the qualities you actually require for your growth. The same goes for careers and opportunities. You apply for a position you're convinced is perfect. It has the salary you want, the status you want, the title you want, but then you get the call. You didn't get it. In that moment, it feels like devastation, but maybe what you actually needed wasn't a bigger paycheck or a shinier title. Maybe you needed the time, space, or push to discover the path that truly aligns with your passion. Sometimes rejection saves you from climbing the wrong ladder, from chasing a life that looks good on the outside, but feels empty on the inside. Rejection acts as a filter. It filters out what doesn't belong to you. It filters out people who aren't truly for you. It filters out opportunities that would distract you or derail you. It filters out the counterfeit, so you can hold out for what's real. But here's the catch. When you're in the middle of rejection, you can't see that filter. You only feel the pain. You only see what you lost. And because of that, you fight it, you resist it, you cling to your wants, not realizing that they might be the very things holding you back. There's a brutal but liberating truth. You have to accept not everything you want is meant for you. And thank goodness for that. Because if life gave you everything you wanted, you'd settle for less than you deserve. You'd accept things that were shiny but shallow. You'd tie yourself to people who weren't capable of truly valuing you. You'd waste years chasing what looks good instead of building what is good. Rejection is not cruelty. It's clarity. It's life protecting you from yourself, from your short-sighted desires, from your impatience. And let's talk about patience. One of the hardest lessons rejection teaches is that timing matters. You might want something now, but maybe you're not ready for it. Maybe what you need is more growth, more preparation, more time. That no isn't always forever. It might just be not yet. And if you can learn to accept that, you'll stop treating rejection like the end of the road and start treating it like a detour toward the right destination. Rejection is like pruning a tree. It cuts away branches that aren't healthy, branches that won't bear fruit, branches that take energy but give nothing back. Does it hurt? Absolutely. But what's left after the pruning is stronger, healthier, more capable of producing real growth. That's what rejection does for you. It prunes your wants so your needs can flourish. So the next time you're rejected, pause and ask yourself, was that really something I needed? Or was it just something I wanted? Was that door closing an attack on my worth? Or was it protection from a path that wasn't mine? When you start seeing rejection as separation, as life distinguishing between what you desire and what you truly require, you'll stop fighting it and start trusting it. The truth is, rejection is not taking from you. It's giving to you. It's giving you clarity about what doesn't belong. It's giving you strength to let go. It's giving you the freedom to pursue what actually matters. But you only gain that freedom if you stop clinging to your wants and start embracing your needs. Rejection hurts because it feels like loss. But if you shift your perspective, you'll see it's actually an exchange. You lose what you wanted, but in return, you gain what you need, and what you need will always be greater, deeper, and more lasting than what you simply wanted. That's why rejection isn't your enemy, it's your filter. It's your guide. It's the hand that removes the temporary, so you can receive the permanent. And once you begin to accept that, you'll never see rejection the same way again. You'll stop mourning the loss of your wants and start embracing the arrival of your needs. Rejection is painful. Let's not sugarcoat it. It stings. It leaves you questioning yourself, doubting your worth, replaying the moment in your head 100 different ways. It can feel like a punch to the gut that knocks the air out of you. But here's the truth. Pain by itself doesn't define you. What defines you is what you choose to do with that pain. Some people let it break them. They let rejection become the reason they stop trying, the reason they play small, the reason they hide. Others, however, take that same pain and turn it into power. The difference isn't the rejection, it's the acceptance of it. When you resist rejection, you trap yourself in bitterness. You replay the hurt like an endless loop. You keep asking, why me? What's wrong with me? Why didn't they choose me? That resistance chains you to the past. It makes you a prisoner to something you cannot change. And the more you resist it, the more it consumes you. But when you accept rejection, you shift your focus. You stop trying to control the uncontrollable and start using that energy to move forward. Acceptance doesn't mean you like it. Acceptance doesn't mean it didn't hurt. It simply means you're strong enough to face reality instead of fighting it. Think about an athlete who loses a game. They could spend days blaming the referee, blaming the conditions, blaming their teammates. But does that help? No. All it does is drain their energy. The athlete who accepts the loss, studies what went wrong, and uses it to train harder, that's the one who comes back stronger. Rejection works the same way. Acceptance gives you the clarity to learn from the pain. Resistance keeps you stuck in it. When you accept rejection, you begin to see it differently. You start to realize that it's not proof of your inadequacy. It's proof of your courage. It's evidence that you stepped into the arena. You understand that rejection doesn't diminish your worth. It directs your energy. That shift is where the power begins. Because once you accept it, you can use it. You can turn that sting into fuel. You can channel the frustration into determination. You can transform the disappointment into drive. Some of the greatest comebacks in history were born out of rejection. People told they weren't good enough, smart enough, talented enough. Instead of accepting those judgments as truth, they accepted the rejection as part of their journey, and then they used it. They allowed the pain to sharpen their focus, to fuel their discipline, to push them harder than comfort ever could. Rejection became the spark that ignited their fire. Acceptance also frees you from the fear of rejection. When you stop fighting it, you realize it's not the monster you thought it was. You survived it. You felt the pain, and you kept moving. That realization makes you fearless. Suddenly, you're not scared of hearing no anymore because you know you can handle it. You know rejection doesn't end you, it strengthens you. And once you stop fearing rejection, you start taking bigger risks. You start aiming higher. You stop holding yourself back. That's real power. Living unafraid, unshaken, unstoppable. But here's the hard part. Acceptance takes humility. It takes the courage to admit that things didn't go your way. It takes the strength to swallow your pride and say, this wasn't for me. This didn't work out, but I'm still standing. Most people don't want to do that. They'd rather blame, rather hold grudges, rather stay stuck in the story of how unfair life is. But that mindset keeps you powerless. It keeps you bitter, small, and paralyzed. Power comes the moment you stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what can I build from this? Every rejection is raw material. You can either waste it or you can use it. You can let it rot inside you as resentment, or you can turn it into the fuel that drives your growth. Acceptance is the key that unlocks that choice. Once you accept it, you no longer see rejection as an ending. You see it as energy. And energy, when directed with purpose, can move mountains. Think about the people who told you no. The companies that didn't hire you. The people who walked away. The doors that shut. You can either let those memories keep you small, or you can let them push you. Let them be the reason you train harder, learn more, dig deeper. Let them remind you that you are capable of rising, no matter how many times you've been knocked down. That's how pain becomes power, through acceptance, transformation, and forward motion. It's easy to succeed when life says yes. It's easy to feel confident when doors open, but the real test of your strength is what you do when life says no. Do you crumble, or do you rise? Acceptance is the pivot point. Without it, rejection breaks you. With it, rejection fuels you. So the next time rejection comes, don't run from it, don't deny it, don't let it turn you bitter. Stand in it, accept it, let yourself feel the sting, but then channel it, turn it into focus, into resilience, into drive. That's how you win. That's how you turn pain into power. Because rejection doesn't define you, your response does. And when your response is acceptance, you take back control. You stop being a victim of what happened and you become the creator of what comes next. That's when rejection transforms from something that hurt you into something that built you. That's when pain becomes power. Rejection is not the enemy, it's the teacher. It's not a sign of your weakness, it's the evidence of your courage to try. Every no you faced, every door that's been slammed in your face, every person who's walked away wasn't the end of your story. It was the redirection, the sharpening, the preparation. Rejection is the fire that refines you, the pressure that strengthens you, the silence that forces you to listen to yourself. You see, people spend their lives running from rejection, fearing it like it has the power to destroy them. But what they don't realize is this: rejection only destroys you if you hand it that power, if you accept it, if you embrace it, if you learn from it. Rejection becomes the very thing that elevates you. It stops being a wound and starts being a weapon. It stops being pain and starts being power. So when the world tells you no, don't let it paralyze you. Don't shrink. Don't quit. Stand taller. Lean in harder. Use that rejection as fuel to propel yourself forward. Let it remind you that if one door closes, it simply means it wasn't your door. If one opportunity slips away, it simply means something greater is aligning. Rejection will test you, but it will also shape you. It will cut away what doesn't belong so that only the strongest, truest version of you remains. The question isn't whether you'll be rejected. The question is what you'll do with it. Will you let it define you? Or will you let it refine you? Remember, this rejection is not the end. It's the beginning of the rise. Accept it. Own it. Turn it into your strength, because every rejection you survive makes you unshakable, unstoppable, undeniable. And when that yes finally comes, you'll realize it wasn't just acceptance you were waiting for. It was the person you became through every rejection along the way. That's your power. That's your victory. And that's why rejection is never the end of your story. It's the catalyst for your greatest chapter.